Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of SxEffects. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create a simple logo. In my previous video, I asked you guys to leave your name in the comment section down below and I will pick one and create a logo for you. But no one did. No one left their name in the comment section for some reason. I don't know if no one wants a free logo or what happened, but no one commented. So I'm just going to choose a random name. I'm just going to choose Dixit name and create a logo for that name. So this is how the logos will look at the end. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it.
So the first thing you will need is Adobe Photoshop, and it's not a free application. You actually have to pay for it. So that's why I can't provide you with a download link. But you can download a trial version if you like. So just go to your browser and type Adobe Photoshop in the search bar and just open the first link. That should be it. Yep, there it is, Adobe Photoshop. Just click on it, and if you just scroll all the way down, you'll be able to see the Start Your Trial. Just click on that and it should start downloading. And once it's downloaded, you can just follow the process and install it. It's pretty easy. I can't really show you the installation process because I already have it installed on my computer. So once you have it installed, just open it up. So I'm going to open mine. And the first thing you'll need to do is just go to File and then New. And it will show you a bunch of options. And just choose A3. That's the one I choose. It's easy to work with. And make sure the resolution is set to 300. That way you'll get the best resolution, like the best quality picture. Once that's done, just click OK. And now you can see the image is long way, and I want to make it sideways. So I want to make it landscape, if that makes sense. To do that, just go to Image and go to Image Rotation and just click 90 clockwise, and now it's landscape sideways. It's just better to work with. We won't be using many tools in here, so you will learn about them as we go, but I just want you to focus on the layers. This is the most important part. So layers are just basically different pages. You can click here to add a new layer. So now we have two layers, one background and one layer 1. So to make it easier for you, whatever you do in layer 1 won't affect the background. So you can do whatever you like to layer 1 and the background layer won't be affected. So it's useful if you want to make some changes to your text and doesn't want to affect your background. So as you can see, I made this mess. If I wanted, I can just click here to delete it and the background layer won't be affected. So I'll show you another example. I'll make a layer 1 and add this to it, and then add another layer and change color and add this to it. So now I have 3 layers. So I have 3 different pages and I can move them around separately. So whatever I do to layer 2 won't happen to layer 1. Or background, or whatever I do to layer 1 won't happen to layer 2 or background. So it will make more sense as we go. So if I had those 2 scribbles on the same layer, for example, if I had them both on layer 1, I won't be able to move them around separately. So they will move together because they're on the same page, same layer. I hope it makes sense. This is the best I could explain it. So now I'm just going to delete them. You can click here to delete. And you can click here to change the color. So you can just click here and then move it around and click OK, and it will change the color. We'll show you more as we go. So now back to the logo. So I'll show you the simplest way and easiest way to do it. So just go to this website called DatFont. So just type DATFONT and it should be the first link. This is basically just a website to download fonts. And if you don't know what font is, it's just the text that we use in the logo. So now you can see different type of fonts, fancy, decorative, whatnot. So you can choose any that you like, but I would recommend sticking with basic because that's what mostly people use to keep it simple and effective. Once you've chosen a font category, just click here in the preview text bar and just type your name or the name that you want to use in the logo. So I'm just going to type Dixit and click submit. And now it will show me that name that I just typed in different fonts. So it's the easiest way to choose a font. So I'm just going to go down and look through all the fonts and pick the one that is the best, that I like the best. This could take a while, So I like to be really specific and pick the best one. So you can just keep on going to the next page until you find the one that you like. So I'm just gonna keep on going until I find the one that I like. This could take a while, so just be patient because this is the most important part. If you have a good font, then your logo will turn out really great. So finally on page 5 I found the font that I really like. I really like this font called Devil Breeze. So you can just click here to download it, and once it's downloaded, just go to your downloads, just right click, extract it, and now you need to install all of these. You don't have to, but it's good if you do it. So all these files are like different weights. So one is going to be thin and the other one is going to be a little bit thicker, or one is going to be tilted, italic it's called. So I would recommend just installing all of them. So just double click and then click here to install. Once all of them are installed, just go back to your Photoshop and choose the text tool, this T, and just you can add a new layer to the text, or you can just click here and the Photoshop will create a layer for you. So it will create a layer for you, so that's really convenient. So once it's clicked, just type your name. So I'm just going to type Uday. It's really small. You know what, I'm just going to delete it. So I'm just going to click here and then click delete. So once you clicked, make sure you change the font size. I'm going to pick 60 and just type Uday Dixit. And once you have typed it, just highlight the text. And from here you can change the font. So you can find the font or you can just type it, so it's easier. So the font was called Devil Breeze. So I'm just going to type Devil Breeze. So as you can see here, there are different weights. So regular, italic, bold. If you just hover over it, you can see the difference. So I'm just going to choose Devil Breeze Demi. And the size still looks really small, so I'm just going to highlight it and you can click here to change the size. And if it's still too small, you can just type a number yourself. So I'm just going to type 150. That should be big enough. Yep. And then you can choose this cursor tool to move your things around. So I'm just going to click here and then I can move it around. And I'm just going to choose my text tool again to edit the text. So each time you edit a text, you need to choose the text tool. So I'm just going to change the color to black. So you can just click here and then drag it to the black side and it should change to black. The green color was just hard to look at. So now I really like the Uday part because of the A. It actually looks like a logo. And the Dixit is just like a really simple Dixit. Doesn't really much going on with it. So I'm just going to highlight it and then delete it. So I really like the Uday part. And then I'm going to select the text tool again and just click here and type Dixit separately. So you can see the Uday and the Dixit is separate. So they're on two different layers. And I'm just going to highlight it. I can also change the weight from here, or you can just type Devil Breeze or whatever the font is called and then change it from there. So I'm just going to choose this one. Yeah, that looks good. And I'm just going to make it the size a bit smaller. So I'm just going to change it to 100. That looks good. And I'm just going to click here and then drag it here. So now I'm just going to put a space between the letters. To do that, all you need to do is just highlight the text and go to Windows and choose Character. There it is. You can just click here and then drag it down so it's easier to work with. So all these options are for your text, but we won't be going through all of them. So this is just the text type, same as the one at the top. So you can choose different sizes. And if you make a mistake, you can just go to edit and undo, but it will only go one step back. So if you undo it, then it will undo it, and then if you undo it again, then it will just repeat it. So it will just go back and forth, and that's not what we want. So if you want to go really back, you'll need to choose the history. So you can find the history in Windows and history. So you can click and drag it here the same way you did that. So it will have all the steps that you have taken. So you can just keep on clicking on top like that to go back and then click on the bottoms to come back. So you can just have them on your screen like that, so it's really convenient. Okay, so now back to our character. You can just click here to choose the size, or you can just click here and drag to your right to increase the size and drag it to your left to decrease the size. That's a more convenient way and easier way to do it. I'm just going to click here to undo it, so just do whichever one is easier for you. We won't be going through all of them. I'll just show you what this does. This is basically just add space between the letters. So if I just highlight it and then drag it to my right, it will just keep on adding space between my letters. So I'm just going to drag it until I'm happy with it, until I can match the T with the Y. It could take a little bit of practice, but once you know how to do it, it should be really easy. That looks really good. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit. Yeah, that looks really good. I'm not really liking the space between the A and Y. I think that's a lot of space. So instead of selecting the whole word, I'm just going to select A and Y because I just want to change space between A and Y and not the whole word. So once I have my A and Y selected, I can just drag it to my left to remove the space between them. So I think that looks really good. Now that Dixit is kind of coming out, so I'm just going to select that and reduce the space between them to match the T with the Y. If it's not matching up, you can put the numbers manually. So I'm just going to put 270. No. Let's try 280. Yeah, that looks good. So I can just drag it to adjust it a little bit. Yeah, that looks good. So that's pretty much our first logo done. How easy it was. All we did was just download a font. So now as you can see, the Dixit and the Uday are on two separate layers. So I'm just going to put them on one, so the logo will stay together. So you just hold shift and select layer 1 and layer 2 and just click on this folder. So now the logo will become one, so both of them are inside the one folder. Now I can just double click here to rename it. It's not really important, but just for your reference, so if you have so many layers, you know which one is which layer. So I'm just gonna call it final logo. So if you like this kind of logo, then you don't have to watch the rest of your video. I'll just have the skip time on the screen, so you can just skip to the part where I show you how to save it. But if you prefer an initial logo, for example your first initial, your last initial, so like my channel logo SX, which stands for Salman Xavier. So if you prefer that kind of logo, then I'll show you how to do it right now. So for this example, I'm gonna choose UD, so Uday Dixit. But first I'm just gonna click here to hide this logo so it doesn't come in our way and I have a blank page to work with. Don't worry, it's not deleted. You can always click on the icon again and it should come back. It's just hidden for now, so it doesn't come in our way. And same thing again, just go to that font and instead of your full name, just type your initials. So I'm just going to type UD and then click submit. And then same process applies. I'm just going to go through all the fonts and see which one I really like. I really like this logo. It's called Silimente. I really like the roundness and the thinness. So I'm just going to download it. Once it's downloaded, just go to your downloads and extract the files. And oh god, okay, so it has so many different weights. Let's see if I can install them all at once. Just select them all and click install. Okay, so it does install. I don't really use PC that much. I actually use a Mac, so I don't know if it actually does. So it actually does install it, so that's pretty convenient. So now I'm just gonna go back to our Photoshop. Let me just check what the font was called. It was called Silimente. Okay, so I'm just gonna choose the text tool, and before I click, I'm just gonna choose a size. So I'm just gonna put 200 and then click and put U and D. So I'm just gonna highlight it and then change the font. So I'm gonna type CLEMENT and I can see all the different weights. I think I like the book version better. I really like the thinness of the light version as well. Let's just go with the light. I think let's just go with the light. Yeah, that looks good. So before I do anything, I'm just gonna duplicate it. So I'm just gonna make a copy of it. So you can just right click and duplicate layer, and I'm just gonna call it logo 1. So the reason I duplicate it is because if something goes wrong with the logo, we can just always come back to the original logo. So I'm just gonna hide the original logo. So I'm just gonna hide the UD and then just work with the logo 1. So whatever I do to logo 1, I still have the backup UD if something goes wrong. So I'm just gonna highlight it and then reduce the space between the letters so I can put them together like that. So just play around with your two initials, see what you can do with it. So you don't have to copy me, but I'm just trying to play and create a different logo that works. So this is just a concept. So this is just my logo 1, and I'm just gonna go back to my UD and unhide it and duplicate it again and call it logo 2. So now I have 2 copies of my initials again, so I can just work with one. If something goes wrong, I can always come back to the second one. You see, as you can see, I have 2. So I'm just gonna hide this and play with logo 2. So as you can see, they're both on the same layer. I want the D and the U on different layers, so I can just highlight them both and just press U. So I'll just have U on a separate layer and then just click here and then click on text again to add the text to a new layer. So I have a new layer. I can just type D. So now I have U and D on different layers, as you can see here. I'm just gonna rename it U so it's easier to see. So this one is U and this one is D. Okay, so now I'm just gonna play around with it. I'm just gonna put the D on top of it like that. You can use the mouse to drag your objects, or you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard if you want to be really precise. So you can choose left or right, up and down to move your objects as well if it's easier for you. So that's our another concept done. So the idea is to do as many concepts as you can. People usually do 20, 25, but just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to do 3. Because if I do 20, then this tutorial will be an hour long, and I don't want that. And I'm just going to put the U and A in a folder. Hold shift to select more than one layer, so they are together. So I can move them together like that. So now I have 2, I just need 1 more. So I'm just going to go back to my original initials, duplicate it again, call it logo 3. And as you can see, I have 2. I'm just gonna hide the original one. Since I put the UND in a folder, the name changed, so I'm just gonna rename it to logo 2 again, so I keep track of my logos. So this is my logo 1, this is my logo 2, and this should be my logo 3. Okay, so for the third one, I'm just going to highlight them and bring them a little bit closer. They're really far apart, so just drag it to your left to bring them closer, and that should be good. And I think for the third one, I should try the thickness a little bit. So I'm just gonna choose Clemente, CLEMEN, regular or book? Regular. I think that's too thick. Maybe I should go with book. Yeah, book should be good. Maybe I should go with regular. I can't make my mind. Yeah, regular should be good. Okay, yeah, that should work. I'm just gonna make them a little bit more closer. So I'm just gonna highlight them and change it closer. This should work. Okay, so for the last logo, I'm gonna show you something different. So I'm just gonna try to remove some part of the logo to give it some interesting look. So I'm just gonna use the razor tool you can click here to select the razor tool. But as you can see, I can't really remove anything because as you can see, it's giving me the no symbol. So what they're basically saying is that you're trying to remove parts of an editable text type. You can't really do that. If you want to remove parts of a text type, then you need to change it. So you need to rasterize it. But if you do that, then you won't be able to edit anymore. So only rasterize your image if you're really happy with your font. So once you click on the font with your razor tool, it will give you this option. Just click OK. And now you should be able to remove parts of your font. So now you can see the eraser is in a circle shape, and I want to change it to a square shape so it's easier to remove parts. So I can just go down, look for a square shape. If you can't find it, then you can just go into settings and then go down into square brushes. Just click that and click OK, and now you'll get a square brushes. So I'm just gonna choose the biggest one, and you can choose the bracket keys to increase the size, or you can even go in here and change the size here, whichever one is easier for you. So I'm just gonna try to remove this. I'm just gonna try to zoom in. So I'm just gonna choose this magnifying glass, click to zoom in, and I'm gonna choose my razor tool, and I'm gonna try to remove this. That looks really good. This actually looks like a logo. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna join the U and the D together. So the easiest way to do it is to use a shape. So I'm just gonna go into shapes. So you can find the shapes here. Just click and hold, and it will give you all the other shapes as well. So I'm just gonna choose rectangle tool, and I'm just gonna click here and then drag it to the right to match it with the D. And you can change the color from here, but it's already black and that's what we want, so that's good. And that looks pretty good. You can always adjust it, resize it as well. If you want to be really precise, you can just press Ctrl T and it will give you these points, so you can just resize it to your liking. And then once you're happy with it, just click this here to accept it. I'm just going to zoom in and see if everything looks okay. This is kind of coming out. The D is kind of blurry. So I'm just going to take care of the D first. I'm just going to choose the razor tool and select the size that I like, and select the D layer and try to remove it. That actually looks much better. Now the top rectangle, I'm just going to press Ctrl T and then just resize it. It's kind of coming out. That looks much better. Still a little bit of coming out, but that's not me. I think that's just the font. But it doesn't look bad from far away. That actually looks really good. And you can choose the mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out, or you can just right click and fit to screen to zoom out and just click to zoom in. So that's our third concept done. But now I have the U and D on a separate layer and the square on a separate layer. So I'm just gonna hold shift and select them both and put them in a folder, so now they're together, and call it logo 3. So now I've got 3 concepts, so I'm just gonna pick the best one that I like. I honestly like the last one better. That actually looks like a logo, so I'm just gonna go with that. But that thing is still bothering me. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with this for now. So I'm just gonna drag it here, and I'm just gonna click to add text, and I'm just gonna put the full name, Udhay Dixit, and just highlight it, change the size, and that actually looks really good. That actually looks like a really good logo. So I'm just going to hide the other two concepts so I can just focus on this concept. So I'm just going to select the UD and the font and press Ctrl T and just resize them to make it bigger so it's easier to see. Maybe one more. That looks good. That thing is still bothering me. Should I take care of it? I'm just going to choose the razor tool and try to remove it. And one thing to notice, you can't really edit your image if it's inside a folder. So you can just click here to go inside the folder, and then you can click on your image and then you can edit it. So I'm just going to choose the razor tool and try to remove it. I'm just going to undo it and increase the size. Why isn't this removing? Okay, that's because this is the rectangle and not the D. Okay, makes sense. So I'm just going to select the rectangle and then Ctrl T to resize it and just drag it up and go back to my D and just remove this. Just be really precise. I'm sorry guys, I have this OCD. I just have to make things perfect. That looks good. I can live with that. And that's pretty much our logo done. I'm really happy with it. And as you can see now that the UD is inside a folder and you can't really edit it together. So if you want to make it one image, you can just right click on it and then click on convert to smart object. So now this has become an image and it's not a folder anymore. So for the final part, I'm just going to show you how to add color to your logo. So to do that, you just go to Windows and click on Styles, and this should open up, and just go to this link. I'll leave this link in the description. Just click on it and then download it. And once it's downloaded, just go to your downloads and extract the files, and you should get this inside the folder. Now go back to your Photoshop and click here and go to load styles and go back to your downloads and just open this up, and now you'll get all these new colors in your style guide that you can use. So I'm just gonna select my UD and just pick a color that I like. I like this blue, that looks really good. And I'm just gonna choose a color for my text. Just try different colors and pick the one that you like the best. Ooh, I like black. That looks really good. I'm really happy with it. So now I'm really happy with my logo, and I'm just gonna bring my old logo in, the one we just did before. So for the people who like to know how to edit the colors for that, so you can just click here on the eye to bring it back. I'm just gonna select these two and put it aside. You know what, I'm just gonna hide them for now. So just click here to hide them, and I'm just gonna select this logo and then bring it in. Press Ctrl T to resize it. And I'm just going to click here to open the folder up, and I'm gonna select Dixit, and I'm going to choose the same colors as before. So I'm just gonna choose black for Dixit and blue for Uday. So let's look for a blue. Was it this blue? Maybe not. It was a bit lighter. I think it was this one. No. Yeah, I think it was that one. Or maybe this one. Okay, whatever it was. It was a bit more lighter. This one. Okay, so that looks really good. So now I'll show you how to save the file. So once you go to your two logos, I'm just going to delete the concepts and everything. You can keep them if you like, but I'm just going to delete them. So I'm just going to click here and then click here to delete. Same with this one, delete. Keep this. You can click here to hide the effects. Delete this. I'm just going to hide this logo and I'll just unhide these. So I'll show you how to save the logo file. It's the same process for both of them anyway. So I'm just going to hide this background. So make sure you hide the background, because once you save the logo, it shouldn't have any background, so you can put on top of images and stuff. So just go to File and Save As. And I'm just going to create a new folder to keep things organized. Right click, new folder, and I'm going to call it Logos. And inside that, I'm going to create another folder. Because I have two logos, so I'll put them in two different logo folders. I'm going to call it logo 1. And inside that folder, I'm just going to save it as logo 1 color. And make sure you select PNG from this list if you want to have the transparency at the background, and save it and click OK. So now I'll show you how to save the logo in black and white as well, just in case if you need to use the black and white version. So I'm just going to select UD and then go back to my styles and just click on this one to remove the effect. Same with the text, just click here to remove the effect. So now it will come back to its original color, black. So same thing, File, Save As, and then I'm inside the folder, go type logo 1 and black. Make sure it's PNG and save it. Now I'll show you how to save it in white. You can't really select the UD since you rasterize it, so you can't really edit it anymore. So to color it in, you need to select the bucket tool, this one, and select the color white from here. And just click on it. It will ask you to rasterize it again, and just click OK. And it should fill it in. With the text type, you can just select the text, which is easy. Just select the text. Since we didn't rasterize it, so we can, just edit it. Select the text, highlight it, and just change the color to white. OK. And then File, Save As. Still inside the folder, logo 1 white. Save. Oops, I didn't save it as PNG. Okay, let me go back and go to my logos. See, it didn't save. Okay, so File, Save As. Still inside the folder, logo 3 white, logo 1 white, and then PNG, and save. And now we're all good. So you can do the same with this one, but I won't show you because it's the same process. But I'll show you how to save the Psd file as well, so you can save this project file if you want to come back to it later on. So just save instead of save as, just click save and make sure it says Psd Photoshop file. So I'm just going to call it my logo file and make sure it's Psd Photoshop file, and then save it and click OK. So for example, if I close it and go back to my logo file and open the Psd file, it will come back. So it's a good idea to save the Psd file as well, so you can always come back to it. So if I show you how the logo looks, so this is the black version. You can't see it because the background is black, so I'll show you how it looks. So this is the color version and this is the white version. So if I open the black one in MS Paint, right click, open with Paint, it should have white background. So you can see this is the black version. So this is how the logos look. I'm really happy with them, and now you can use them however you like. So if I just open Sony Vegas and just bring any background image, for example, if I bring this one in, and if I just right click insert video track, so I have another track on top, and if I just go to my logo file, I can just bring them in, and as you can see, it will come on top and it has no background. And you can even click here to resize your logo and put them on the side. You can do the same with the black one and the color one, so you can just click and drag them in and you can just resize them. And yeah, you just learned how to do a simple logo.
I hope this video was helpful. If you have any question or anything you would like to ask, you can comment down below and I will try to answer it. The reason I wanted to do this tutorial is because in our future videos, in my future tutorials, I'll use a logo. So most of my tutorials will include a logo. So it will be good if you have your own logo by then so you can follow up with all the tutorials. Other than that, have a great day and I'll catch you guys later.